Welcome back everybody to a new tutorial. This time we talk about house piano chords and how you can play them in a rhythmic way so that it sounds funky or soulful or whatever. Yeah, so let's start with some basic chords. I already prepared a chord progression and it sounds like this. As you can see, I used some fairly basic 4-note chords. They sound quite jazzy, but the big question is, how can we turn these simple chords into more interesting rhythmic chords? Yeah, so if you would always work on the beat, like on every beat, it would sound rather dull and boring. It sounds like this. As you can hear, it's way too static, it just doesn't get anybody moving, so the first principle is always work around the beat, not on the beat. As you can see, I already prepared some notes for your reference. These are some muted notes on the beat, beat 1, 2, 3, 4. And for this rhythm, the first chord is played on the beat, but after that we always play around the beat. And this sounds like this. And as you can also see, I used fairly short notes here, 1/16, and we can use the same principle, play around the beat and use short notes, to get other patterns going. And you can also combine different note lengths, like an 8th note like here and a 16th note like here, and you can get something like this. Or this. Or this. And a third principle, whenever a chord change happens, like in this place, here, here, or here, then always use the same pattern. For example, here I have a long note, shorter note, very short note. Same happens here. Long note, shorter note, very short note. Long note, short note, very short note. And the same again here. So I think these rules are the best principles to get you going very quickly. And as always in music theory, these rules are just a guideline. You can use them, but you can also bend them. So whenever you feel that a variation in the last section would be good for your song, then do it. It's just something to get you started, right? Okay, so how can we get from these basic chords to something more complex like this? Well, on the one hand, you can do it manually in your DAW, or you can play it on a MIDI keyboard. But I will show you a trick that will get you going way faster than any other method. And it's by using a plugin. And this plugin is called Chord Potion. It's a MIDI effect, so whenever these chord notes come in, Chord Potion will transform the chords and then send them to the piano. In my case, the Contact 5 piano. So let's take a look. This is Chord Potion, and the main thing is, you see, there are several rows here, and here is the chords row. And in the chords row, you can switch between a lot, like really a lot, of different patterns. For example, the basic beat pattern. And let's listen. Or we can also use an offbeat pattern. And so on. And another important thing, there are these modes at the bottom and we need to pick restart on chord change. So every time a chord comes in, the pattern will start from the beginning. Okay, let's get to something more exciting. We have some house patterns here. They are called 16 steps house A to house F. So let's take house A for example. test house B, or house C, and so on. So this is already quite nice and it gets us going quite quickly. But there's another feature in Chord Potion which is exciting for our production. Chord Potion contains a built-in MIDI recorder. So whenever the DAW starts playing, Chord Potion will record the output notes. Now when I stop, I can take this field and drag it to the DAW. And as you can see, we have the same notes as we heard from Chord Potion. And we can switch to the next pattern. Pick this again, put it over here. Let's take a look, and voila, new notes. So the big question is, what happens when we want to get new variations that are not listed here? And for this we can use the chord effects or row effects. As you can see, we have a big list here. And all these effects will change the pattern. For example, we can use remove notes. And now it sounds like this. We can also generate a new variation. And we can also combine it with other effects, like, for example, add notes. So in this example, first I remove some of the original notes, and then I add other notes. Or this. And we also have some global options, global slots that I use now because I already used up my 2 row effects. And I add another randomization effect, randomize note length 1 to 4 steps. Maybe we should use 1 to 2 steps. Generate new variation. And so on. And as always, we can take the MIDI symbol, drag it over here, and we will get everything in our DAW for our production.